I've got the 1:30, obviously the 1:30 to 2 slot, day 2 after lunch. I like to call it the power half. A lot of folks take a power nap during this time. So thank you very much for being here. I'm going to be here all day. All right, let's see if I can advance this. I may power on. All right, I'll see if I can keep this near me. All right, agenda for today, you all can read. I just like to let you know what you all are in for. So let's talk about introductions and objectives. My purpose today is to show 811spotter, and by the way, I should have asked, just a quick stakeholder representation count. If I start with my one-call stakeholders, I think I've got you visually, and then asset owners, rest of the hands probably go up. Okay, got it. Contract locators. All right, awesome. And then excavators. Any excavators in the room? Oh, all right. Okay, I got a visual. I'm going to be talking to you later. You're self-perform. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, I'll behave. So really the purpose today is to introduce you to 811spotters, Irth's second latest acquisition, and really start to socialize the contractor pain points or the excavator pain points as it relates to damage prevention. My personal goal is to give you a clear picture of those pain points, talk about 811spotter and how it solves those pain points. I'll see if I can break out in a demo, and then we'll talk about why it matters and how you can help. So we got a tight, focused team. I'm the only one here. The basics of the team are 26 years of commercial construction technology. That's myself and my partner Jeff, and then we've got some amazing sales and development help with Justin and Andrew. Okay, moving on, we'll talk about the contractor challenges. Now, we don't take this personally in the excavator stakeholder or the contractor stakeholder. It's easy to sort of bash on them, but the bottom line is in just 2023, there's 43 million tickets. That's over 500 million individual bits of information where a contractor has to go to either a portal or they get an email, and it's really, I'm actually pretty good at email, but like, come on. This is an insane amount of information coming to contractors. And when damage does occur, I would say it's the contractor that pays the most. That's either time, money, sometimes with injuries, sometimes with their lives. So it's really critical for them to track and verify all of the paper and the data and the paint on the ground as best they can. And I'm sure everybody knows the commercial contractors, in your lives. These companies aren't great at tracking this level of information. They get into the business because they like to build stuff. And so what we do is we try to make it easy for them, but I'll get to that in a sec. When we go and talk to contractors, generally, I would say to a 99%, of the organizations that we work with, they track their side of the equation in one of these 3 systems. That's paper files and Excel or Google Sheets. Sometimes I get fancy and use Google Sheets or Smart Sheets or Airtable. And I mean, it's just not working. It's inefficient, error-prone, and costly. And when I say costly, I mean costly. It costs all of us that work in damage prevention billions of dollars a year in damages, societal costs. You all know it. That's why you invest in organizations like Irth and the solution set. Now, the bottom line from my perspective is the system is inefficient. It's a system problem. So you may hear me say, don't hate the player, hate the game. And so it's a system problem, I would contend, that needs to be worked on. And so what we do is we work with excavators, and we provide them an end-to-end 811 ticket management system that's purpose-built for them. It does everything in the system is built for contractors, and I'll flip-flop between contractors and excavators, so hopefully you all know what I'm talking about. And the core purpose of the system is to help them reduce the cost and the risk associated with even calling in tickets. And so what we do is we get them off of the paper files in Excel, we get them onto a system that's much more visual, it's easier for them to understand. It's a system that is reducing damage claims for our customers by 90%. I'm gonna say that again. Our customers system-wide reduced their damage claims by 90%, and it's saving our customers thousands of dollars. Now, I'm sure you can connect the dots. Our customers' customers are utilities, asset owners. So what we are doing is we're saving dollars in the damage prevention space that really translate back out to everyone. All right, and now I lost where I was. All right, so more visual. Here's a ticket, and we'll flip over to the system here in a moment. So this is an individual excavation site. They can see all of the utilities that respond, and then we've got a mobile app. And so the mobile app our customers love. They have it in the field, and let me see if I can flip over and show you the system. Okay, so this is 811spotter, and I'm gonna give you the world's fastest demonstration on, in terms of what an excavator sees. So first of all, we start with, I'm on the web tool, and we start with a list of tickets, and I'm just gonna highlight Safe to Dig. So Safe to Dig is really an at-a-glance view for a contractor to get a very, very quick understanding of what's going on with the ticket. There's 3 icons: ticket, utility, and field verification. We're following the best practices in excavation management. So like, come on guys, gotta have a ticket. So green ticket means the ticket is good to go. Dates of the ticket are beyond the legal start date and before the expiration date, and that's sensitive to each of the individual dig law where we operate. Next is a utility gauge. Oh, I clicked the ticket, won't do that. Oh, I clicked a whole bunch of stuff. All right, we'll just go back to the utility icon. So the utility icon, yellow means, green means I've got all the information, you are safe to proceed. Red means stop, something needs your attention, got to deal with it before you advance, start your excavation, basically the next step in your process. And then yellow means there's something going on, something is either missing, a utility either hasn't responded, or there's an ambiguous response. So in California, we have over 40 positive response codes, and some of them just aren't as clear as they could be, especially from an excavator standpoint. So we give a little bit of a sensitivity there. Let's see if I can move there we go. And then the last is a field verification step. So what's happened is a utility owner has come, they've sprayed their paint, and then what 811spotter allows our customer to do if they want to, and this company does it. Basically, if there's paint on the ground, there's a verification step where they're going around looking for the paint on the ground, taking a picture and documenting that it's there. So by that time, I've made sure there's a good ticket, I've validated all of the utility responses, and if there's paint on the ground, I've actually visually verified that it's there. So from an excavator standpoint, I'm doing my job as best I can in the context of this process. By the way, you've all been trained in 811spotter. That's about as much of the training as we get. Sometimes we extend it to half an hour. I actually asked for more time, but they limited me to half an hour for this presentation, so I can't give you the full training experience. So I showed you the table view. We start there because most of the organizations that we work with start with something like Excel, Google Sheets, something like that. But they very, very quickly move to maps because, come on, maps are so much easier to understand. They're visual, and now I get exactly what I need to know at a glance. So let's look at a job. It's a Tesla job. Let me flip to satellite mode. I've got 2 tickets on this job. I'm going to click on the ticket in the north. I clicked on the wrong ticket because, presentation, there we go. So I'm clicking on ticket 0451, it's red. Why is it red? I can't work, what's going on? I click the ticket, but oh, by the way, the field training is you roll out to site, or if you're responsible, you do it before you go to site. You click this button right here, bottom left-hand corner. It tells you exactly where you're standing to, about a 20, depending on the sensitivity of the device. So this device is not that sensitive. So I look around, I don't see any pins. That means stop. You are probably not legal. There hasn't been a ticket called in. Make a phone call, figure out what's going on. So there's your field training. All right, looking at these 2 tickets, let's say we're working in the northwestern ticket. It's red. What's going on? I click the utilities, and then I scroll down, and I see everybody's green, everybody's green, everybody's green, and Southern California Gas needs a standby. So I go through my process. I reach out to Southern California Gas. I organize that. Southern California Gas. I organize the standby, and then I move on. Gives you a place to document your work. These dots on the right is a 180-day measurement of this utility's responsiveness to the damage prevention system in this specific area. So if I'm a contractor, I can see, okay, it's a gas service. I mean, they're gonna get out there. They're very responsible. If this was rural water, in California at least, they're a lot less responsive, and so I can take some proactive measures. If there's contacts that come along with the ticket, they're going to be listed here. In California and in many states, we have contacts. These are not the best contacts that exist, and so we have crowdsourced contacts that the contractor can enter. So here's water. We found a Fernando, locator for Redlands, 3.8 miles away. This actually might be my guy. He's city of Redlands, probably not the right person. But the point here is we're really trying to get the contractor and connect them with the person who can help them as fast as possible. And so that's the contact piece. And then last but not least, if I swing over to the right here, these are attachments. And so what's happened is this contractor, when they do their field verification, they go around, they look for the paint, they take pictures. I can't really, there we go. See, it's kind of hard to, for some reason the pin isn't showing up. But basically when you take a picture in 811spotter, it'll geo-reference it to exactly where you're standing. That's for your own protection if you're a contractor, so you know that you're attaching a photo to the right ticket. And so they've attached the photo to the ticket. It looks like they didn't do it with this particular utility, but if I'm, when I drop a attachment in or take a photo, it'll walk me through a workflow to say, hey, what did you take a picture of? So if I'm a damage prevention, damage avoidance person, and they tagged it to a water service, I can come back and say, hey, dummy, you took a picture of red paint. That's not traffic electrical. That needs, you attach it to a water service. What's going on? Get back out there and find your stuff. So again, I'm free to bash on excavators, by the way, and I do frequently. All right, so that's the basic system: ticket, the utility responses, and then making sure that the field conditions are clear. And I will get back to the presentation and then leave time for questions. Okay, we're back. So who cares? First question, who cares? Can you hear me? Okay, good. So system-wide, or I should say, this is why you should care. So system-wide, we see a very normal pattern in our customers. And by the way, we ask, how many tickets do you have? Most of the time, the answer comes back as I don't know. Fine. We'll figure it out for you. But we see a pattern where there's an onboarding of tickets. It goes up, and then it kind of normals out a little bit. And then, by the way, and I'm sure you know this, Irth is not a not-for-profit. And so we make our customers pay for the number of active tickets that they have in the system. And so if you're a contractor and you're made to pay for something, there is immediate behavioral change. And so the immediate behavioral change is about 20 days. And so what we see is the number of tickets go down. And again, we use this particular customer as an example, but generally the tickets go down about 40%. And that's because they just don't need the tickets. They don't need to do the refreshes. They've got some tickets that have just been renewed by the person working the front office, who's an admin, who really doesn't understand what's going on. We have the information out in the field, and so they can close out the tickets when they're done. From an implementation standpoint, like I mean, I know my audience. It's a very fast implementation. Generally, it takes a day. It's a half an hour of training for the office in the field, and then they're good to go. Like, people are in and out of our system in 30 or 45 seconds a day. That's it. That's all we need to increase the level of context sensitivity so that they don't break your stuff. All right, so let's talk about why I'm here. So this, we link to Irth's mission to prevent damage by improving visibility and coordination across all of the stakeholders. We extend that mission out into the field and out into what I would say is the most underserved stakeholder in damage prevention. We're bridging long-standing communication gaps, and then mostly we're, like I said, getting technology into the hands of the people that are out doing the work, or doing the construction work. If you like pictures, the magic here is you've got three stakeholders in damage prevention. That would be asset owners, locators, and one call that I think we could say are pretty well covered from a technology standpoint. And then we are the fourth, that's excavators. That also gives us an opportunity to start talking more broadly into the commercial construction segment, which I think will help the entire industry. One of the things that's unique about 811spotter, and this is kind of a cut of commercial construction if you look at it in this particular way. So you've got asset owners, again, those of you in the room, they hire contractors, contractors hire subcontractors, and it goes on and on. So 811spotter, we have coverage and customers across all levels of commercial construction. It's a super easy tool, and customers love it. Mandatory data tie-in slide. So what's happening under the covers? So what we're doing is we're gathering data around contractor problems. We're using that data, if we sort of look forward and link it to the other themes that have been talked about over the past day, and that is you have a pretty massive and amazing, frankly, data set. A lot of it is crowdsourced. A lot of it comes from the work that is happening in the field. You put that in the AI engine that is being built across many of the Irth products, and then you get AI insights really across both damage prevention and commercial construction. So fewer damages, safer digging, better for everyone. Okay, so the real impact is already here. We're out working with contractors all the time. And so let's talk about why it matters to you and how you can help. This is also the call to action if you're into that sort of thing. So if you self-perform excavation, gentlemen in the corner, I'll be talking to you afterwards, or many of you self-perform excavation, you are calling in, or you probably have a team that are creating tickets. We can help you manage those. We can help you manage those today. If you're a one-call center, we've got a partnership program where really the largest challenge that we have, that I have as a product, is awareness. It's very similar to your challenge. And you can talk to the largest excavators in your market. That's awesome. It's getting to the smallest excavators, because they all have the same machinery and they can all break your stuff. And so our challenge is to get to both the large and the small. So working with call centers, partnering with call centers, trying to get to really anybody that calls in and manages a dozen or more tickets is a goal for us. So that's number two. And then if you're a utility or a facility owner and a facility owner, let's partner and help with your damage prevention efforts. And that sounds like this: normal damage prevention. Your normal damage prevention messages: hey, excavator contractor partners, you got to create tickets, you got to manage this, here's how you stay safe. And then there's the next message, which is, oh, by the way, there are tools out there to help you with this part of the work. And that's where 811spotter comes in. And so it's a contractor tool. Go talk to those guys, or look around. But you should not be managing this process in paper files and Excel. Okay. That is the content that I have prepared. I'll be in the back of the room signing autographs. If you're interested, I'm fine with that. What questions can I answer? Yes. Thank you, Matt.
Hi, Mark. So you kind of glossed over it, so I want to kind of ask a little bit about it, and that is, you mentioned the positive responses and the markings at the site that they can see evidence of. They go out, they take pictures, they can upload them. From a one call center perspective, that's the most important part of this particular product, and that is aggregating and consolidating all of the responses that the facility owners send to a ticket, to an excavator for their tickets. So if an excavator has 100 tickets and there's an average of 7 utilities on every one of those, they're getting 700 responses they have to deal with, and many of those, probably 90% of those, are probably coming over by email. And that's where we see excavators having a big problem with managing their tickets, is consolidating those. What does the system do when that response is, you need to let us know when you're going to dig so we can monitor the excavation because you're going to be crossing us? Is it doing something special when that happens? Is it showing a different color? Does it pop up for them? How does that show?
Yeah, let me repeat the question back to you so you know that I'm tracking. So there are multiple response codes that come in. Some indicate that the utility owner needs to be on site, and so mandatory coordination. And so what does the system do in that instance? Is that your question? Okay. So first of all, when we set up a system, we connect both to the one call center if we can, and we're working across multiple one call centers. And then the other thing we do is we put a rule in our customers' systems that blind copies us on the official communication coming from the one call. So in some states, all the communication is by email. In other states, it's a combination of email and going to the portal. Bottom line is, it's a lot of information, and it's often missed by contractors. And so and I'll just call it a standby, if you will. So what a standby looks like in 811spotter is it comes back into the system, and it turns the utility icon red. And so the training, and we go by standard operating procedures for our customers, but the basic training is, if it's green, you've got all the information you need. If it's red, stop. Go condition, stop condition. If it's stop, there's a one-button push to see what the utility is, what the exact response code is, and then generally there's an action, or someone has taken a note, or there's some documentation to tell the person in the field what to do. If they've already had the communication with the utility, as an example, there's a way to override the color and turn it green because there's a documentation step. Did that answer your question? Okay. The other, I'm just going to say magical because I'm behind the system, but the real benefit is a contractor gets to see this information very quickly. And so, like I said, in and out of the system in 30 or 45 seconds a day, they get what they need, and then they start work. What other questions can I answer? Okay, like I said, autographs in the back of the room. Thank you so much, everyone.